It's common for people who are dealing with mental health issues and having to navigate the system end up being bounced from agency to agency, trying to find exactly the services that they need. When someone comes to Devereux for help, we offer such an array of services that they don't have to look any further.
The individuals that we work with don't typically come in and have one thing and then they have to leave, right? It's like they progress, and so we're able to progress with them. When you have a lot of services, then you can offer more to the individuals that we work with. We're serving some of the most disadvantaged kids and families in our communities. We're raising our hands to say, this is not the end of the game, this is just the beginning. And if you do some work, we'll meet with you and we'll do the work together and we can change your life.
We alleviate the need for them to tell their story over and over again. Their care is consistent. They can hang on to a particular therapist or in-home behavior coach that has been helpful to them.
So it allows us to move up and down our continuum to be able to serve the individuals that we are providing services to more effectively. And that's why we try to put in services where we have gaps so that we continue to build on that continuum so that we can better serve the individuals that come to us for help.
We continue to work with those families and make sure that when they leave us are feeling positive and hopeful, and that they know their lives are going to be significantly better.
I'm not into this stupid game anyways.
To come in and see the staff's commitment at this very moment, they're dealing with a kid that's really struggling. Things that when you tell the story out to the general public, they're like, I could never do that. And there are people that come in and do it every single day.
Adult therapeutic foster care serves clients with serious mental illness. So, think of schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, that kind of thing. So adults that aren't able to live by themselves and need extra support, taking their medications, teaching them skills, hygiene, activities of daily living, that kind of thing.
And now we're going to add, when you have mental illness, this disrupts families. People walk away from the person who's mentally ill because they're tired.
Like 90% of the clients have a diagnosis of schizophrenia, so they hear voices in their head. These clients, we want them to be integrated back into the community, and some of these clients are just not ready.
Many of the people who are in my home may otherwise be on the street, because sometimes people have very minimal skills. And with minimal skills out in the real world, they will eventually become homeless.
The most restrictive environment right now is the state mental hospital. A step down from that is a group home or residential type facilities. We're right in the middle because a lot of clients cannot live in that environment. They couldn't live and exist without somebody helping them remember to shower or eat. We have some clients that won't eat if somebody wasn't preparing their meals. They just may get lost in a delusional state.
So this is a family setting. They live in our home. They're with us 24/7.
The parents monitor the client's medications. They assist with the self-administration of medications. So our program is a place for them to learn skills so they can live semi-independently.
Devereux's Applied Behavior Analysis Treatment Program for individuals with autism. We design interventions based on behavior analysis principles to teach children and adolescents skills that they need to learn, as well as address and decrease problem behaviors that they exhibit. The skills that we might teach can range from things like communication, language skills, self-help skills, hand washing or toothbrushing, play skills for younger children, maybe leisure skills for adolescents. The goal is going to be to try to help the child hang out with their typical peers as much as possible. So to be able to socialize, have friends, go to school, go to birthday parties. A parent is still a parent. A parent isn't a teacher. They do teach their children many things, but they still need to maintain that role as a parent. We can come in and we can work on some of those skills that might be a little bit difficult for a parent to work through. They have a different emotional connection to their child, and so when we come in and the child maybe cries because they didn't get their favorite toy, but we know that they're just crying because they didn't get their favorite toy, it can sometimes be easier for us to work through that problem behavior because we know that their child is not actually physically hurt at that time. But when a parent hears their child cry, they have a different emotional reaction.
A lot of these skills are stuff that we can start at the home and then, go to school, go to playgrounds to help generalize these skills that we're teaching them in the home. So basically, I'm going in and helping to increase social skills and communication skills, decrease some maladaptive behavior skills that they've picked up, such as tantrums.
This is something that we have to work on every waking hour with these children to try to teach these skills. Every moment that a child is awake is an opportunity for them to learn something that's going to be beneficial for them, more functional for them, and help them long term in their lives.
The Boost program goes in, helps preserve a placement in a foster and kinship families. We're a crisis intervention. We go in, we're there 45 days is kind of our max. When you take a kiddo out of their natural environment and put them in this loving, this home, this family environment, they don't know what to do with it. These kids just survive. They're so angry, and these parents are trying to do everything they can to help these kids and be their support and be their safety net. And it just gets to a point sometimes where these families just feel beaten down. They've done everything they can to support these kiddos, and they're not making any headway with these kids.
They're the children in the system that you have to have an enormous amount of skill to work with. They're hard.
We will assess to make sure the kiddo is not in jeopardy of harming themselves at that point, and that's kind of what my role is as the nursing supervisor. Oh. It follows up with our counselor, our in-home behavioral support. They go in, they come up with a plan. They come up with a plan, whether it be like a reward chart or some kind of positive behavior incentive plan with the kiddo. They help with parenting styles because not all parenting styles are the same, but they will be in there to support those families. They'll attend the child and family team meetings with the families to be a voice for them as well.
Yeah, we can watch TV.
So we really help the child with, expressing themselves, the families expressing themselves, and coming together as a team to figure out how do we keep this kid safe in this placement without having to move him at this time.
When you can see a child who does require that extra skill and work and love and time and patience, make those gains and strides, it's beyond rewarding.
Emotional triage. That is what we're doing.
I was thinking more along the lines of crisis SWAT team, but yeah.
Brief intervention for us, short term, so anywhere from 10 to 30 days. We see clients anywhere from the ages of 12 to 17 for a number of reasons, usually stabilization, for a disruption that happened in a placement. A lot of our children are in DCS custody. They live in foster families, group care, things of that nature, and if they're struggling in that placement, we will take them, provide some intense clinical work, and stabilize them.
A lot of times these kids are like throwaway kids. They're separated from their parents, they're in DCS custody in a lot of cases, And I think there's a stigma that these kids have, that people believe that they can't change.
Well, there are a lot of children who come from severe trauma backgrounds, and they come in with having been abused physically, sexually, and having experienced loss, tremendous loss, and they're angry. They're mad at the world, they're mad at everybody around them, and trust has been completely violated, so there's nothing left for them.
And our job is to stabilize that. They come to us for a brief period of time, between 10 and 30 days, and we have a team from direct care providers to clinicians who work kind of like in a holistic approach to address everything from daily living skills on up to the trauma that the kids have gone through.
Our direct care professionals, our DCP staff, they work with the kids on a 24-hour basis. In the milieu that we have Esperanza, which is our brief intervention program. It's 10 days. And then we have our AIC, our Assessment and Intervention Center, which is for 30 days.
Our founder, Helena Devereux, her whole philosophy was that every kid has the potential to change. And every kid is a program in and of themselves. And that they deserve that individualized treatment. And they deserve that focus to create that change. And that's what our job is, to remember that they can change. Sometimes it doesn't happen in 7 days. Sometimes it doesn't happen in 30 days.
The bottom line is the relationship. It's the relationship that you develop. Our staff come from a really compassionate place, and they take the time and the energy to try to understand what's happening with the child, and then work in that respect to understand the dynamic and move in such a way that they're not creating more trauma for the child, but they're actually giving them a light at the end of the tunnel.
Everybody's got different needs, and that's what it's about, is addressing those different needs for the best possible outcome.
We may not be able to do a whole lot in the way of changing their world fully, but we can plant a seed and we can help them understand that there's possibility.
Children are not in foster care because of something that they did. They're in foster care because of something that has happened to them.
These kids that are in foster care, they can go on to be doctors, they can go on to be lawyers, but they have to have an opportunity to be able to do those things. And giving them a stable living environment, structure, allows them to be able to do that.
So as we started foster care from there, we adopted them, 3 girls, and raised them. And from then on, it's been an ongoing process. If one leaves, I want someone else in there. I said, you're taking one, so I need another one, you know? And I'm still waiting. I'm getting my babies.
We had 5, so 11 altogether in, what, 2 years?
11 in 2 years.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
We love kids, and there's a need for children to be know that they're loved, and have somewhere safe they can stay.
We also have therapeutic foster care, and so that is children that may or may not be involved with the Department of Child Safety, but they have significant emotional and behavioral issues that require an out-of-home placement with professional/trained foster parents.
If you can bring that calm hand down and that loving hand and just open up and give them what you'd give your own child, it's like melted butter on a biscuit. It's just great. It is. It's a warm, fuzzy feeling when you see that a child has security, when a child knows that you're going to keep them safe, and they know that you're going to be there for them, and they know that they can count on you. That's an awesome feeling.
And I know that it takes a lot of patience in order to get the kids to do what you want them to do. It's not an easy fix. Every child is different. Every child responds differently.
Devereux has been great. They've walked me step by step. If you need some additional training, we'll get it for you, or whatever you need, we'll help you through it. And that really helped me. That kept me from quitting.
This is an opportunity for you to be something that someone may not have. They may need a father, they may need a mother. They may need some kind of parental figure to change their life, to set them down a path of success and not destruction. This is an opportunity, just like every day is an opportunity for you to do something greater for someone else and be the change that makes the world a better place.
I was diagnosed with schizophrenia, bipolar disorder, severe anxiety, and severe depression at the age of 12. It meant I would now have to take medication. I would now have to go to therapy. I would be having to reach vulnerable levels that I have never reached before because of the negative stigma that surrounds mental health. I learned about the negative stigma from a friend because I told him about my diagnosis and he ended up calling me a monster. I did my best even as a kid to hide it. People sometimes dehumanize people with mental illness because they believe that we aren't in control of our actions, we aren't in control of our emotions, that we are basically a liability to other people. But what I want for people to know is that people with mental illness actually do have potential in themselves. They do have the potential to grow as people. Just because our mental illness can't be seen or even heard and is inside of us, doesn't mean it does not exist. It does exist and we can get through it. It is shown that with personal stories attached to that education, the negative stigma actually decreases. My dad left me at the age of 9. He abandoned our family. I never wanted anyone else to leave me in my life. I ran away from home so many times. It was better for me to cut that ties on my own accord so that way I would never be hurt again. I always left people feeling hurt and damaged. What changed was definitely my mindset. I believe that at a certain point, your work and your personal experience began to mesh. I started thinking if I treat my mental health as a work and separate it from my personal life, I would be able to make progress.
Helping Youth Participate and Excel is a collaborative program between Devereux and the Phoenix Zoo.
This program means everything to me. It's given me the inspiration that I always needed to be a youth advocate in the system. If we go in with the same mindset that we are monsters, that we are everything that's wrong with the world, we are setting ourselves up to fail. But if we go with the mindset that we have potential, that we can be greater, not just inside, but outside as well, you have to live life with courage.
We offer a variety of services to our youth and their families in an outpatient setting, meaning they don't have to be in a residential treatment center. We believe in meeting the families where they're at in their journey of mental wellness. And so sometimes it's easier if we go into their homes because then we can really work with all of the family and the environment to give them what they really need to be healthy and successful. We're working with families and their children to meet them where they're at in their mental wellness. Our Meet Me Where I Am team, which is a specialized behavior coaching team that really goes in and is what we call the SWAT team of behavioral health. And we go in and we really intensely work with these families in the entire environment. So the kid, their brothers or sisters or grandparents, the parents, everybody, and we really walk with them in their shoes. We go to school with them, we go to birthday parties with them, we do everything with them in order to teach them along the ways all of these natural moments that come up, these teachable moments, and we help them get through them and so that they can do it without us.
Community and family support services. And we provide behavior coaching. It's a roller coaster ride with these kids because we are meeting these kids at their highest needs. And so we have to go into their homes or wherever they're placed and we'll stay with them for maybe 6 hours out of that day. Why? Because we want to keep them where they're at. You get to go into a home that's broken and you get to build it. You get to create something and input skills that these family members are needing, and also if a kiddo's in a group home, you can see them progress in their behaviors and be reunified with parents that they haven't seen or haven't been able to live with in a very long time.
I am in charge of the Positive Parenting program. We help parents achieve or enhance certain parenting skills. We give them real life tools that they can utilize with their kids, either at home or in the community, to handle misbehavior, to improve their relationship, to discipline effectively. In best case scenario, you have someone co-parenting. It improves the relationship between the two caregivers, and it also improves overall the relationship between the parent and the child, as well as the child behavior. So it's kind of like a win-win situation coming to Triple B.
Our role as the parent partners are to support families who have kids that are receiving mental and behavioral services. And this is a very unique role. You have to be a parent. You have to be able to sit side by side with these parents and say, I have walked the walk, I've talked the talk, I know what you're going through, I've been through this before, let me help you get through your journey now. When you are a parent and you have kids with special needs, you lose a lot of those natural supports. Your friends, your families, you kind of get alienated from everybody because they don't understand. So that's why being a parent partner is that unique, because we can be that partner for them. And now I help parents learn how to fight. I educate the parents on their rights. I give them all the tools that they need so they can go out and advocate for their children.
I am a licensed associate counselor. I specialize in working with families with children that are 5 and under. That's working a lot with attachment and relationships and helping children primarily that have gone through a lot of trauma, and how they can continue on to be successful and have successful relationships in their life. People think, well, how can you do therapy with a 3-year-old? How can you do therapy with an infant? And it's a lot of working with the parents and working with them on how to be more emotionally available to their infant or to their 3-year-old, helping them to develop skills on how to manage tantrums and manage challenging behavior.
High-needs case management is a specific type of case management for working with children in behavioral mental health who have very acute needs. So this would be children who come in and maybe they've had a suicide attempt, or they're a danger to themselves or others. They're involved with juvenile probation, and we come in and depending on what the referral is, we'll go in and assess what are the family's needs. It's like an interview with the family. What is your family's uniqueness? What is your family's strengths? We take that and really look into what the family's strengths are and use their strengths to help them get stable. We talk to the family, okay, what's the worst thing that could happen right now? And how are we going to plan for those events? It's not just going out in the community and meeting with the families, but then they're responsible for ensuring kids get connected to the appropriate service. My job is to get you to a point, you and your family to a point where you're stable, you know how to find the resources in your community, and you no longer need a professional or a formal support to help you get connected to those things.
Helping Youth Participate and Excel is a collaborative program between Devereux and the Phoenix Zoo. Twice a month we go volunteer at the Phoenix Zoo, and we complete a variety of projects, anywhere from working with the cheetah exhibit to working in the barn, stacking shavings, clearing debris after storms. We also do social events for the kids to get to know each other better. There's a lot of research that supports having children work with animals, even with horses. There's a reduction in stress. For us, the zoo is a very safe environment. It's contained. It's, there's park rangers on site. We have a variety of zoo staff on site that work with us. The kids get to experience all sorts of things from, we're working in the cheetah night house doing dirt work, and they get to hear cheetahs purr. But it's very safe at the same time.
It was a very awesome experience to be able to help Mary's help in transitioning into adulthood. And now that I am assigned from the Phoenix Zoo, because I am a zoo volunteer, I'm assigned to HYPE. I love working with the youth who are part of HYPE now.
We were there to baby-proof the exhibit when Luca was going back out, and that was a pretty intense project. And then we were there when the cow gave birth once. That was
I remember that.
Fun to navigate.
This program means honestly everything to me. It helped me in troubled times. I believe it's given me the inspiration that I always needed to be a youth advocate in the system, that there needs to be more outside thinking when it comes to the behavioral health system, that some of the things that used to be successful in the past has to be changed or improved on. It means I'm not gonna overglorify it. I mean, she means the whole world to me, but she's a very important person in my life.
The way he said that was a good example of what we want them to come out of this with. He said, you know, I'm not gonna glorify this and say she's my whole world, because I'm not. And he said I'm very important, which is great. Thank you.
No problem.
But those are the things we want them to learn. To stand on their 2 feet and to take care of themselves first.
So we have the counseling service, and then we also have our specific specialty population, we call it, which is the LGBT. We provide services for any kids that are struggling with gender dysphoria, kind of questioning things like that, and also some of our youth that are looking at transitioning. So those are challenging sometimes, is saying, okay, well, how do we go about doing this? And this is going to be an uncomfortable conversation, you know, and are you ready to do this? And we will do family sessions with that, of talking with the parents and saying, okay, you know, being accepting of their decision doesn't mean that you have to be 100% all in and believe it, but how do we accept your youth, and how do you best support them at the end of the day? And keep them safe. And I think that's what any parents really want, is their kids to be successful and happy and safe, and that's what we're focused on.
This is the residential program for kids who have behavioral and emotional problems, substance abuse issues. Some of these kids have seen things that kids shouldn't see. We take all of them and we try to help them and give them the tools that they need to continue, hopefully with a very safe and productive life. This place can do that. This place will do that. This place has done this. It's a 24-hour facility, so the kids go to school here as well as sleep here. The average length of stay is about 4 to 6 months. There are going to be some outliers that will be here much longer, and that's primarily based on the availability of resources when they go home. So when they do go home, they don't relapse. This is the highest level of care a kid can be in outside of a hospital or a jail or detention kind of center. This is a therapeutic environment.
And that's the way it's going to be. I don't want to do school. I never did school when I was...
We're giving them individual therapy, we're giving them family therapy, we're giving them group therapy. These kids have opportunities to participate in recreation groups and community activities and outings that they might not have the opportunity to do if they weren't here. Whether that's going to a ball game or going to a restaurant. They're doing the work, we're giving them the tools. They are a different person. They're feeling better about lots of things, themselves. They feel hopeful. They feel they do have a future, and they do. We have a culinary program here that the kids can get their food handlers cards. We have an education program here where the kids can actually catch up to graduate from high school. That's the resiliency. It's the fact that they can do that is amazing. These kids matter. These are our kids. We can take care of them now or we can take care of them later, but we will be taking care of them. I just think we have an opportunity to take care of them in a treatment center rather than through the juvenile justice system.
Respite is a covered service for those receiving behavioral health services in the state of Arizona. Anyone who has access automatically gets 600 hours of respite a fiscal year. So essentially what it means is giving kids a break. And so they come here, you know, in a positive environment and having a good time. Families get tired. You know, and so we work with parents, we work with grandparents, we work with foster parents, we work with adoptive parents, the whole spectrum. And so essentially what it is to preserve families by providing that break in a safe and positive environment. We've had families tell us that, you know, that if it weren't for respite, that they would not be together. We've had parents on the verge of divorce because they were all about their child and they forgot themselves in a relationship, and bringing them, you know, every Saturday for a few hours so they can rekindle their marriage, you know, is huge. And it's a huge difference. Or the fact that we can keep a grandmother sane, you know, one time a month, you know, so she can keep her grandkids and not feel like she's not being supported. And that's awesome. Like, a lot of the kids you see back here have been with us for years. They treat it as if it were their own house. And when they come here, we try to keep them in the same bedrooms that they've been in. So they feel like, oh, this is like kind of my bedroom and this is kind of like my spot. We try and cook for the kids, and the kids help with that project. So they'll bake with us, they'll help, you know, prep things, and then we're teaching them essentially like those minor life skills while they're with us. Don't be afraid to ask for help and to advocate for services such as respite when you're in a CFT team meeting with your case managers, with DCS, and to say that you need support.